South. Okay, to Sir Paulo, our moderator, good afternoon, sir. Maayong hapon for those who can understand Cebuano. And of course, we are here to experience on how instructional supervision influence the technology instruction, what are the challenges and instruction, okay? Opportunities also. Okay, so especially for the deep ed teachers, welcome to Magister Service. And if I would ask you, have you ever been a part of a district initiative or district meetings when you sat down during that meeting and you wondered why there are no administrators there? And have you also encountered sitting on a training and wish that your teachers were there if you were the coordinator or the head teacher or the assistant principal, and you wish that the conversation about how to move forward will be there, wishing that your teachers are there. So this time, we will now be taking into how would we look at the world when the technology changed and changed us in the past 20 years. If you look at the world map, a number of interest of users, okay, has changed. And the internet users are individuals who have used this, because without the internet, our lives would not be meaningful at this time. So this is how we would really understand that more than the half of the world's population has internet access today. And many people are online today when they are not at the start of the millennium. And so if you look at the world, let's say start in 2000, okay, since we borrowed some of the software here from the Americans, the broadband access at home and today reach up to 90%. So if you look at the world map, the Philippines belongs to 50 million to 100 million users. So that might be the reason why we need to intensify our knowledge and skills in the integration of technology. So since we are teachers, I would like to share to you these important terms that when we teach, okay, by heart or the art and science of teaching, that is what we call the pedagogy. And each art and science of teaching has the following characteristics: the dependence, the learning resources, learning reasons, learning focus, motivation, and the rule of the teacher. If you look at the pedagogy, this is how the methods and the aims of education and the ways or the goals are being achieved. In our lesson plan, there are objectives: cognitive, psychomotor, and affective. And if I would ask you which of the following objectives are being carried out, and when these are carried out, of course, you could say that you are an effective teacher, and that strategy that you are using is also an effective one. So the fields rely heavily on educational psychology. So I call it educational psychology because that is one of the foundations of education, which encompasses different scientifics of learning and of course the philosophy of education. And if you look at andragogy, when the students are getting older, they are now getting independent. So the science and practice of adult learning, if you look at our resources, the adult and the teacher controlled, while in eutagogy, this is a process of learning where the students learn on their own with some guidance from the teacher. So ano nga bang pedagogy at andragogy at eutagogy? These are the art and science of teaching, but the students are changing. Physiologically speaking, they are growing old and not growing young. That's why the type of strategy that we are using also varies with an integration of technology. So if you look at eutagogy, learners are already interdependent, not only you, not only with your classmates, but with other negotiations, where the potential on how is it being planned or unplanned, is it non-linear, because we cannot really predict what would happen for them if there are reasons on how would they really progress based on the different modules and other instructional materials that we are using. In eutagogy also, they are proactive. and problem-oriented. So this is now how we apply the PBL or the project-based learning, and it can be incorporated when you do research. So I am in line with research for those who are in the Department of Education and even in the private schools, you are adhered and encouraged to do action research because that is how we really give treatment for every educational malady or educational problems. And the rule of the teacher from the pedagogy, we process, we impose. And of course, there's what we call knowledge holder and the director, because that is how we really started. We can understand for high school teachers, again, for high school teachers and those who are teaching in college or in postgraduate, we can understand better the learner if we experience basic education. So when I taught in the private schools, I experienced teaching grade 4, grade 5, and grade 6. So I would really look at how the students are different from each other because of the maturity. There are only two factors, okay, underlying in our job. Dahil tayo po ay mga teacher, we have to understand the nature of the child, okay? And we have also to understand on how we implement higher levels of motivation so that in the level of andragogy, they can be an enabler now and collaborator. So that is how the senior high schools reacted because I am teaching grade 12, grade 11 senior high school practical research and DISS, some social sciences subjects, applied economics, uh, uh, understanding culture, society, and politics. And when they reach the level of pedagogy, they are now the capability builder, meaning to say we are still facilitating them, but in a sense that they are matured enough, we can encourage them to how to understand on their own level of learning. Okay, so if you look at the figure, supposed to be this is a backbone, what we call the fish bone. Okay, this is how the history of uh, teaching that prior to 1990 is pedagogy. It's instructor-led. Learning process is unidirectional. So iisa lang po yung direction natin del pedagogy. Inaalagaan po natin yung mga bata. So because we are not only teachers, we are also parents. So the time when they get tantrum, that is how we act as a second parent for them. Until 2010, the andragogy na is what we call the self-directed or what we call the learning process is bi-directional. After 2010, another evolving systems of, let's say, knowledge base or new knowledge, because this is a theory and the theory must be backed up with evidences or what we call validation of hypothesis. So we have synergy, meaning there is a strength of teaching, and then cybergogy because the students could really understand your lessons, okay, the topics that they are supposed to or intended to learn because of the computers. And of course, pedagogy. That's how the learner, okay, takes its maturity and how would they contribute, okay, in the learning process. Self-determined or what we call the learning process is multi-directional. If you look at the figure, they can understand better and they are even better than us. There are students who are better than technology compared to teachers. So there's what we call autonomy, learner maturity, learner contribution. So what I'm saying is that when we speak about pedagogy and andragogy up to eutagogy, these are the things that we need to understand because our learners by nature are diverse. And since they are diverse, well, we have to understand that we will apply different types of strategies. So the teaching strategies like storytelling, we know that already, connecting, simplifying, and playing hierarchy of learning, okay, engaging multidisciplinary po ang ating approach. When we say multidisciplinary, it doesn't mean that I am an araling panlipunan. I'll be teaching forever social studies, but it's not. You might be given another teaching loads if you have experienced that one. So you are majoring the minor and minoring the major in a sense that you are not expected to do that. All of us underwent being a beginning teacher. So since this is multidisciplinary, the collaboration of learning has eased the conceptualization and retention of practical knowledge. Okay, again, we have to remember that the academic skills are the things mastered by our students. But when we give enrichment activities, that is what we call now practical skills, especially in TLE or TVL, students are well versed with the manual or manipulation of something. Since our education system now focuses on a patient-centered, for the DepEd, Department of Education, our school, may nakalagay po na this school is child-friendly. Okay? And it's true. Every DepEd public school has that. And case-based learning system. When we say case-based learning system, when we make an intervention to our students, there are reasons. Like, for example, if you have your anecdotal notes or anecdotal records, be sure that the parents know that well during card giving time. Okay, so it's how we understand our system because that is our job. Moving on, okay, the professional development that I am talking to you, okay, lies on your decision. In Magister Service, you decided to participate here. It's because you are expected to embrace the culture of learning process. And one of the learning process is that action research or teacher action research, because that is a scientific inquiry. Self-directed learning, problem-based learning, and job-embedded learning. So if you are familiar with IPPD or what we call the Individual Professional Development Program, something like that, we, at the end of the school year, we are asked to do that during our RPMS IPCRF. And if since you are, let's say, most of you are vying to become school heads, master teachers, assistant principals, or someday you'll become a school head, you also know the cycles of supervision. There's what we call the pre-observation conference, teaching observation, and post-conference. So later, we will have a quick survey on how would your perception and your attitudes really matters during observation time, because that is how we enliven ourselves the synergy with there when there will be a class observation, as long as it is already agreed between you and your mentor. So there's what we call mentor and mentee relationship. Okay, so the cycles of peer directed, initiated, peer observation, that is what I mean. So your colleagues or your co-teacher must be there sharing your LP or lesson plans, and then you would also agree with each other. And then there is what we call a collation of your meetings that will happen during the learning action cell, okay, in public schools. Self-directed, support with each other, and there are forms to be submitted. So that is what we call a collaborative or self-directed, meaning to say you are cooperating with your co-teachers, and that is what we call self-directed because you will reflect by the time when you have your own rating result. So mentoring, induction, study groups, learning clusters are the things that we always practice. That's how we call best practices, and these are shown through MOVs or means of verification. So if you look at below the arrow going up and going down, there is what we call teacher evaluation. Before it was NCBTS and TSNA, National Competency Based on Teachers, something like that. Then CB passed, okay, RPAS po ito nung unang panahon. Ngayon, RPMS, no? IPC, RF. So always remember that evaluation changes, okay, as the time goes by, or on the wings of love. It's not love, but on the wings of time. And so I'm not yet done because these are our objectives. Okay. So, kala nyo, nagsisimula na ako, objectives pa lang tayo. Okay. So, in this training in Magister Service, all of you are expected to gain more into the characteristics of instructional supervision of teachers because you are an aspirant or an aspiring principal. Even myself, I'm a master teacher 1 in the Department of Education. When I took the principal's test, we didn't pass. We also didn't know the score. That's the question on how the DepEd really reinforces and make some systems that are hazy. Well, even if we cannot be promoted or not, our vision is still to teach the children to do all our hearts and our minds. That's why the second objective is to develop awareness and strategies for us on how we really we are in terms of technical and pedagogical aspects. So they are combined. And of course, we have to be aware. Kahit na alam na natin ang technology ay pabalik-balik and we know already how to use this one. But the law of recency, remember, that's the last law of Thorndike. If you remember Thorndike, law of readiness, law of effect, okay, something like that. And the last is what we call the law of recency, meaning if other things held constant, when it keeps on repeating and repeating, when you read, re-emphasize the objectives, that is how learning occurs. So that's the law of recency. And in this training also, you are expected to analyze the practices of supervisors integrating ICT in supervisory functions. Then you will also be determining the challenges and difficulties encountered by educators when dealing with online supervision from existing related studies. So for me po, that the last objective is the most crucial because it encompasses all of our efforts, our tribulations and teachers. Lahat po ng mga paghihirap natin dito masusukat. Okay, encountered by educators. Remember that we cannot please everyone. That's why the greatest love of all is blank. May I hear any of my participants here, if you are listening to me and very active, what is the greatest love of all? The greatest love of all is blank. May I see your answer from our chat box? Just one phrase or sentence. Really go. Just 2 participants or 3. What is the greatest love of all? As a teacher? It's based on the song. Ready? May I see your answers? What is the greatest love of all? The greatest love of all is On the Wings of Time. May time po dito, may yes. Okay? No one is yet answering me. The greatest love of all is learning to blank. Learning to love. What is LP? Ano pong LP? Lesson plan. Learning to love your blank. Thank you po, Ma'am Junabet. Students is my greatest love of all. Wow, thank you, Ma'am Junabet. The greatest love of all. Nandyan po ito sa kanta natin. Learning to love our learners. Very good. And learning to love our, thank you, Ma'am Junabet. Thank you, Ma'am Lisa. Learning to understand. Learning to love our learners. Thank you, Ma'am Junaline. Okay. So, learning to love our, according to the song, it's learning to love ourselves. Because if you love yourself as a teacher, you would also love your students or learners. Remember that without them, without our clients, without our students, we cannot be a teacher. We cannot be teachers. And of course, when there are no teachers, thank you, Ma'am Lisa. Thank you, Ma'am Joni. Thank you, Ma'am Dave. Sir Dave Delgado, learning to give our best for our learners. Yes, very good. Thank you, Ma'am Agnes Santiago. All right, so they are really listening to us and actively participating. Okay. So, let's continue. Congratulations po for those who are participating actively because this is learning and you are not only there to listen. Remember that this is a training. That's why there's what we call a dynamism of teaching. So, let us now clarify. Okay, let's clarify these terms. Instructional supervision, that is how the extent to which the school's objectives are meaningfully realized. So, when we say extent, we have to measure or rate the scale, okay? How we teachers are utilized and supervised by our principals, our school heads, to pave the way for the effective teaching learning process, okay? Enhance and meet the felt needs and interests of the learners. So the interests and the needs of the learners are what we are after for, okay? So the supervisors are not only after for us on how we teach, but it's the quality of education. And according to Basilio and Bueno, the capacity of principals, okay, instructional supervision, is the capacity of the principals to lead the teachers and institute school programs that would enhance the creativity and innovation so that innovations, okay, can adapt to the digital age. So this was 2021. So if you look at the year of publication from Udisure 2004 to 2021, there is what we call a consumerism of knowledge. If you minus 2021 to 2004, that's how the gap of the year or the range of the year that instructional supervision still ongoing, and there are changes because of the existing technological improvement in the field of educational landscape. Moving on, okay, so we are now in the 8th slide, the integration of ICT in real life learning. So I just simply use the bullet notes there that integration of ICT must be active. Active in a sense that it allows the active involvement of students through the existence of interesting and meaningful learning processes. It should also be constructive because it allows our students to integrate novel ideas into prior knowledge to comprehend. So the experience that they have had before and the involvement that mean to say that they are active is what we are looking into for our students, because our job as a teacher is selling, keeps on selling our subject matter. Okay, paksang aralin. It should also be ICT po tayo. It should also be collaborative. Although it takes time, but collaborative allows our clients to work together. Okay, it should also be enthusiastic. Okay, because it is striving actively and enthusiastically to achieve the desired goals. So alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic, if you're familiar with that song. So that's one, enthusiastic. Then dialogical also, I forget the enthusiastic. Dialogical because it allows our students to process and interact both inside and outside the classroom, because it does not happen only within the four corners of our classroom. And of course, contextual. So contextual po because it allows learning situation in a meaningful learning process. In a meaningful learning process, let's say higher order thinking skills. Training makes it possible to practice higher order thinking skills, or what we call the HOTS. So inside our classroom, we have many rules for engaging our students' brains. If you look at the right side picture, we make sure that the students know this one, and we make sure that they feel safe and valued, and then they make it a trust. And then we get our students motivating, thinking, listening, making corrections, and do something new. And so if they do something new, those are the part of the activities that we employed in our LP, in our lesson plan. In other words, active learning happens when the teacher is inside the classroom. Okay? And wala pong nagbubulakbol na teacher. No one should be truant when it comes to our job. That is how we show our integrity with our job. Okay? To continue, I'd like to share to you a related study, because what we are speaking right now, what we are talking about right now are based from the review of related studies. So this is from the United States of America. The title is Improving Educational Technology. In 2015 by Nicole Yamauchi, okay, in Minnesota, her objective in her study is to investigate the technology integration barriers that educators face, training received, and support needs of a 30-year-old international school offering pre, then kinder 3 to 12. In the Philippines, we have preschool and kinder 1 only, and we don't have kinder 2 or kinder 3. Then grade 12. So napakahaba po ng kanilang pag-aaral. If you imagine, there is a preschool, then kinder 1 to 3. In the Philippines, kinder only to grade 12. So, and that was in 2015. And I think now it's changing or not, whether changing or not, we will follow or repeat and duplicate the study of Nicole, because the result of her study shows that it failed to reveal any significant relationship between technology integration levels of teachers and the variables of interest. So what are these variables? The variables are the self-perceived barriers. So how did they really perceive or think about technology for themselves? Next, the confidence of the teachers and the participation in on-site professional development. So if these are happening in the United States, the author recommend that it must yield social change for the focus of the school by improving their technology integration practices based on empirical evidence. So in 2015, if the empirical evidences, okay, are utilized by the next consumers of knowledge or the future researchers, there's also a way here in the Philippines that we have also to investigate the technology integration. And there are many existing studies. Now the question is, have you tried, have you experienced making a creative investigation or action research in your own school? Really? Answer me with yes or no or not yet. May I see your answers in our chat box? Yes or no? Have you tried or experienced making an action research, whether funded by BERF, BERF, no to Sir Prisco, no, 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 wow, no. Okay, thank you po, Ma'am Junabeth, Sir Ma'am Cheryl, Sir Brian, Jane, and the rest for, yes, thank you very much, Ma'am Jane Delano. She experienced, okay? No for Sir Joni, own process po. Continue po, Sir Mervin. Josephine, Ma'am Josephine, thank you po. Torion. Torion from Bohol. Okay. Thank you po for your answer. But based on the survey that I'm asking with yes or no, no po for Ma'am Rosalie, yes for Ma'am Josephine Torion. Majority of here of the participants are answering no. Therefore, you must, okay, reflect. Okay, reflect muna before you will do. All right, let me continue. Okay, so let's have a quick survey. Answer me with 4, 3, 2, 1. 4 for great, 3 for moderate, so on and so forth. If the technology are the barriers and your concerns. Number 1, answer me with only numbers, 4. If it is a great barrier and concern, 3 for moderate. Okay, then not a barrier for number 1. So that is how you rate yourself during the survey. Number 1, outdated, incompatible, or unreliable computers. Okay, is it a barrier or a concern in your school? Answer me with 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. This year po presented po district level. Wow, thank you. 4, 1 to 4. 4, number only. Next, internet connection is irregular. Did you experience that one? Unstable or not dependable? Is it a barrier or not? Wow, answer 1 to 4. Bakit 1 to 4 po? 1 to 4, I don't know. 4. Kindly provide us training or seminars for proper making of action research. Yes, we will ask Magister Servos for that. Noted po. 2. Okay. How about inadequate training opportunities? Inadequate, meron bang training talaga sa ICT? Is it a barrier? Thank you, Sir Brian, Ma'am Cheryl. 3. How about the concern about students' access to inappropriate materials? Okay. So, kung naghihirap po tayo, how much more po our students in appropriate materials and lack of funding to purchase desired technology like equipments or programs, even if we have MOOE, but hindi naman nakikita kung anong nangyari sa MOOE. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Anong sabihin ng 1, 2, 3 is not acceptable in research. You must specify 3, 3, 3 because we have to add that one, sum up, and get the weighted mean and then establish the adjectival or qualitative or what we call the descriptive value of each answer. Thank you, Ma'am Annalyn Pardilla, okay, Ma'am Rona V, for your participation. So this is how we ask for a survey if you are very ready with technology. There are many indicators po. I just choose 5 because of time constraint. But anyway, you can still ask for the copy of this owned by Magister Servos. Okay, let me continue. Open na po ang ating cortina. All right. These are what we call the characteristics and needs of supervision for virtual learning environment. Okay? So ito po yung mga katangian. It's a refreshment. The techniques for supervising digital learning and environment. So we have the face-to-face observation, digital learning environment observation, and the use of different tools to supervise. Then we have also items supervised for virtual learning environment. What are these items? Methodology on virtual environments, the use of 2.0 tools. The 2.0 is part of the web yung kasalukuyan pong mga apps natin na ginagamit. Students' evaluation on digital environment if they are really evaluating you. In private schools, of course, patay po tayo dyan. They have strong evaluation. The students in the private school, okay, they really evaluate. I experienced that one when I taught for several years in private school. We have electronic materials and security systems. So these are the things that we need to consider when we talk about the characteristics, security system, electronic materials. That's why in our school, there must be an ICT coordinator. So if you look at the box there, the rainbow box, something like rainbow na lang na siya, ha? The digital skills teachers should have. You should find and evaluate authentic web-based content, but you have to be competitive first or expert. And then you create visually engaging content. You know how to effectively search the web, leverage the power of social media to professional development, digital presence like blog, wiki, website, okay, and so on and so forth. Use web tools to incorporate learning concepts such as game-based learning or what we call gamifications. We are good at that. Some are not. Even myself, I just simply use my own way because I'm teaching practical research subjects, practical research 1 and 2, and inquiries, investigation, and immersion. So later I'll be sharing to you on how would I enhance myself professionally and cascade or share my knowledge in the field of research, because for me, I could learn more if I have more research networks, and my research publications must be indexed even in Google Scholar, because the Web of Science, the Scopus, and other databases or indices are paid or expensive in higher education. Because I am also teaching college students in Cebu Normal University. I'm a part-time instructor for Assistant Professor 3, and I'm also teaching graduate schools, major in social studies. We looking into an angle on how a particular subject or courses or program be part of the what we call education. When we enter in the world of research, there must be a dimension or what we call an enhancement of the curriculum, and that is something new, and of course it contributes or help the community, especially the school. So again, the digital skills are part of our decision whether we would accept or not, and then we keeps on practicing and practicing, but it depends on your own skills and of course in your own interest. So I am interested in research. That's why I am going into it and share to my students, to my colleagues, and of course during learning action cell. So something that we should know, that the internet is the backbone of the web. This is the technical infrastructure that makes the web possible. So at its most basic, the internet is a large network of computers which communicate all together. So here we are in a Zoom. Okay, this is another platform used by Magister Surface because we are many. If we are only, how many are we? How many are we now? You are 30 plus, 40, konti lamang. Okay, but it can accommodate more than participants. So if you only, it could be Google Meet only, Google Meet. So this is how the web continues or went into transition from Web 1.0 to Web 2.0, because from Web 1.0, the competency is to read only. But in Web 2.0, read, write, collaborate. So marami na po mga competencies. Web as reading platform, but in Web 2.0, it's a publishing platform. But in the United States, publish or perish sila. Here in the Philippines, publish or no publish at all, wala pong problema. It's not a problem. But if you want to learn professionally by yourself, you need to go research and then you publish. Because in research, you can really concentrate and focus. Without focus po, even the brightest and the intelligent person or our student, okay, can be surpassed. Malalampasan po natin because of our focus. So developer authorship in Web 2.0, it's public authorship. individual intelligence, collective intelligence. So if you look at Web 2.0, open source, dynamic, it knows you and your needs, collaborative, long tail. So when we say long tail, it goes forward or to the positive side, a positive side. So there's what we call increase of the demand, increase of the price. Ganun po sa economics, di ba? The dependent and the independent variable, okay? Directly proportional po. So, let's move to the next slide. Let's open our Cortina. Okay, let me continue with the characteristics. So, earlier I just said to you on what's the function of the internet because without that, wala po tayo dito sa Magister Servus. Wala po tayong internet. No capacity. To supervise, of course, we have your emails, you have your blogs, wikis, social networking, and up to electronic data, Google Docs or similar. So if you are holding classes online, of course, you have to look at the Google store. Nandun po lahat. Okay? Nandun din yung Google Calendar, Google Sheet, nandun po lahat. Okay, Google Classroom. It's already part of our teaching and learning process, okay? Especially during the COVID-19. So these are the tools and it's up to you. Remember also that there is a what we call netiquette. That is how we use the etiquette as a netizen. And the difficulties for virtual supervision, like if you experience lack of training, yes, need of special regulations, need of modernization with ICT of supervisory techniques and instruments, need of training on ICT skills, we need that one, and need of training on security regulations on ICT. So we need the help and the support of the ICT coordinators. So again, the platforms, applications, and the defining, what we call this, defining features from social networking, the blogs, up to that one. I already said that earlier. Okay, YouTube, Flickr, Google Apps, presentations, calendar, Yammer, everything that you know, and if you are interested and for you, you are convenient, then you continue doing that one with a supervision and guidance of you yourself as a classroom teacher because our job, our function is still facilitating skills. That's how we manage our students, okay? And tip po that the World Wide Web, yung WW, or simply what called the web, is one part of the internet. Kaya kung ano po yung website that you have understood or remembered, okay, you may use that one and incorporate in your teaching. Therefore, the internet and the web are somewhat different from each other because the internet is a global network of computers, while the web is a collection of information accessed through the internet. And the internet also, the network, is what we call an infrastructure. While in the web, you can see that there's a link or what we call the HTTP. And for the internet, it travels via network protocols. But in the web, we use browsers to access documents and web pages. And in the internet, we can access through a variety of ways. But in the web, we navigate to other pages, of course, through hyperlinks. That's why we just simply, if you are familiar with Scribber po, if in research you forgot to use your or cite the reference or in-text citation, whether parenthetical or narrative, just use the Scribber, okay? I think it's downloadable and just discover or explore how it functions. YouTube po, if no one could really guide you or teach you because of, availability of time or time constraints. So that's why the characteristics of supervision in virtual learning or ICT integration, okay, must be understood by the teachers, just like level your knowledge. 80% is good. So I'm sharing to you as a teacher that if you have your Google Scholar account like this one, I have my Google Scholar account. Okay, this is one of the research basis or indices in research This is one of my repositories. All of my research publications are stored here. So if you type my name, or if I type my name, Rinaldo V. Moral, PDF, something like that, ang lalabas po ay ganito. That is if you have made research projects. So if I open this one, ito na po yung lalabas. Title of my research is Systematic Review of Research-Driven Pedagogy in New Normal Modalities, because in the new normal or during COVID-19, okay, there is what we call a research-driven pedagogy. Okay, and this is a literature review. Okay, so I revitalize my dissertation and then come up with a publication. Then another is value system and cultural diversity of radio soap opera listeners. So this was my thesis, and I reconstruct it and I stored this one in year 2021. And the rest of my studies, perspective drawings of senior high school students in housekeeping and technical drafting. Even if I am not a TVL major, even if I'm not a mathematics, okay, or other subjects, I use my power and influence to my principals, to my co-teachers, to the assistant principals, and to the rest of the 120 faculty members in Don Siria Osmeña Senior Memorial National High School, because I am the district research coordinator, the school district research coordinator, and also in Magister Service, okay, I am the editor-in-chief of IREO Incorporated. It's a sister company here in Magister Service. IREO stands for International Researchers and Educators Organization Incorporated. And I think we are welcome to send your research products, or if you want to become a member, then you can join that for professional development. But again, in editorial, in research, there is no money or payment for this. Okay, again, there's no money or payment for this. But the certificate of recognition or the certificate of appreciation is a very big help for your promotion. Okay, or in any research organization, if you want to become member of the board, there is no salary, wala pong sweldo. It's only the certificate, and that is what I am using even before and until now. Okay, how to be a member. If you want to become a member, just ask Sir Paulo, our moderator here. Okay, there are links there. Yeah, because I think there are projects or programs of Magister Service are planning. I do not know, but that's how I look at or envision the organization, because I started here since 2020 or 2021. Okay, and I'm very much alive, kicking, and I'm very happy with what I am doing. Okay, nothing happened to me. Unti-unti po akong gumagwapo. Joke lang po yun. Okay, can we submit our research paper publication to Magister Service? Yes, you may ask them. Okay, because there are protocols, there are standards there. Okay, there are. All you have to do is to ask Dr. Grace Nueva, can we publish our? Yes, I think there is a publication also here. Okay, in Magister Service. Okay, just ask Magister Service, okay, and IREO Incorporated. Okay, you're all welcome. So I am just telling this to you because I have a Google Scholar repository. Okay, then to continue with discovering parts of the Google Scholar, these are my studies and cited by how many citations? 6 only. Wow, kawawa naman. But still, I'm happy that this is the highest, and for me, the greatest happiness happened in my life as a teacher researcher, because they cited my study. All right. That's in 2021, meaning to say these studies are closely related for them. Here is our membership with art. Okay. So there are many studies, and it's in Google Scholar. Okay, it's just part of how I develop myself professionally, so that if time will come that I will be helping the ICT coordinator in the field of research, I can help them, and at the same time, I can also help the other teachers. And if you have this one, Amazon Web Services, this is a cloud web hosting solutions. Okay, this is non-profits, governmental organizations, okay? And I am showing this to you because there was once when I published a book. That book was all about distance learning. I paid only 10 US dollars, and the title of the book is Teaching and Learning for Global Competencies. Okay, the editor is from India, and we are the contributors, we are the authors. So inside the book are foreigners from different countries, especially Indian people, and I made it this research entitled Students' Propensity to Paradigm with Distance Learning, a meta-analytic approach. I made this for just 8 days, believe it or not, because of wala tayong magagawa, you know, just part of having fun. And my leisure is to keep on writing, reading, typing. That's my hobby. Okay, this is not institutional but personal only because I want to grow professionally ICT. Before I'm not that good in ICT, and now I keeps on learning. So I'm bringing the name of DepEd and of course Cebu Normal University, even if it is not credited in CNU, but still I am happy with this. Later I will be showing to you the results of my study, and if you look at chapter 4, they are foreigners. Theirs is scenario and existence of global competencies factors in the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so if you want to improve yourself, you remember you have to widen your research networks, and Magister Service is one of the networks. Hindi po kayo nagkakamali. Dito po, you will grow professionally. Just apply what you have learned because academic skills is one part of development and the next one is practical skills. Again, what you have learned here and what you've learned from me, Dr. Moral, you need to apply. But again, you need to reflect and reflect and reflect. Kinahanglan jud ka mag-reflect. Those who can understand Cebuano, no? It needs to reflect. Let me continue. If you have this LinkedIn, okay, so from pink to black, that's how I enjoy myself as a speaker here in Magister Service for several times, okay? So up to yellow, and now I'm wearing my yellow with a coat because this is international level. Okay, this is how we communicate with our Suki, our friends, the LinkedIn. And if you look at, you can concentrate with the different institutions. So I am from DepEd and from Cebu Normal University also. It's up to you, just like a Facebook. Okay, the LinkedIn. And if we continue, like for example, I'm also an resident panelist in the University of San Carlos. So quarterly, when the senior high school students defended their thesis, their practical research project, they invited me because I am already the resident panelist. So when I asked one of the students, hello, Kian, did you already publish your manuscript? So I befriended Kian. It's because he is one of the best presenters at that time. And he said, good afternoon, Dr. Moral. Unfortunately, not yet. This is because Mrs. Gagani directed us to focus on the publication of our first research paper created during the first semester. And this research was also accepted in the UP Cebu High School CI Congress. CI means creative investigation. But later on, we will hopefully be able to work for the blah, blah, blah. Okay, something like that. So this type of student is, I think he belongs to an advanced, bright ang bata. Very intelligent. So when the child is intelligent, we have to concentrate and give extra activities, something like that. Because the academically challenged, yung slow learners po, yung tinatawag nating mga tira-tira po sa Ukraine at Russia, something like that. Okay, we have to make an intervention for them. And for the bright students, intelligent, we will provide extra activities. Remember that they, thank you po. Remember that they can understand well if you have to balance. Mahirap po ang trabaho natin bilang teachers, no? Okay, I've been teaching since 2001. And now this is my 23rd year of teaching. Okay, but if I look at myself, hindi naman ako tumatanda, nagkagwapo po ako. Pero joke lamang po yun, ha? Okay, so that's LinkedIn. And also, if you have your research gate, again, I'm showing this to you. It's because I think some of you have no repository yet. Okay, so a research gate is an example also of how we widen our research network. And if you look at the graph, since 2017, when I have ResearchGate, I do not know what will I do. But since 2020, 2021, if you look at the graph, okay, I grow professionally in my research network, especially in Magister Servos. And in 2022, last year, I professionally grow because I'm sharing here what I've achieved in DepEd in Cebu Normal University in 2022. So if you look at the trend, unti-unting tumataas po ang professionalism ko. It's because of research in education and action research po. Why? Because we are teachers. There must be an immediate treatment when there is a problem, educational problem. And now is 2023, okay? So medyo ang bar maliit po. So we do not know if this will increase because we have just published article or study together with my principal and supervisor. And I will tell you later on what happened with that publication. Okay, and moving on with ResearchGate, if you look at this is the statistics, okay, how many people in the Philippines read my publication? It's 117. And in Uzbekistan, 22. In France, in Fiji, in India, para po akong nag-travel. Wow, I've been to this place, Uzbekistan. I've been to India, to Pakistan. Okay, I've been to paradise, but I've never been to me. Okay, so ganun po ang learning journey. And how many have read by institution? We have from Davao del Norte State College, Cebu Normal University. We have independent researcher also. Yung mga independent researcher, they are closely related with UNESCO. We have also Polytechnic University. We have University of Port Harcourt. Asan ang dapita? Nigeria. It's from Nigeria. Then we have from Poland. And if you go down, there are many countries and institutions who have read my publication. And it's very delightful. And when we show that to the public, I do not know if they would accept or not or be happy or not. But for me, I am very happy. Wala akong pakialam sa kanila. Basta I'm very happy with what I'm doing. And there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. Okay? Because this is what we call integration of technology, ICT. And this is how I am happy with what I am doing. That's why I grow professionally and getting handsome. Let's move to Sci Horizon. This is one also of my repository in Sci Horizon, wherein my studies are stored here. So if you Google my name and you see Rinaldo V. Moral in Sci Horizon, then you can meet also other researchers like Dr. Shishang Digadawala, Dr. Anshika Singh, Dr. Virendra Kumar. All of them are my friends or friends to be if I keeps on reading. But you know what? We have to prioritize our work as a teacher because in DepEd, marami pong papel. Do you get me? Do you agree with me? In DepEd, ang dami pong papel. Aanin ba natin yung mga papel na ito? Okay? Okay, ipatimbang na lang na siya. You know, ipatimbang sa Bisaya. Okay? Oh, para bang kalakal, magkano ang kilo ng white paper, something like that. But since we are professional, and once you're a professional, you have to be open-minded that in the real world of teaching, there is one dimension of blooming. So I bloomed here. And so another is the semantic scholar. In semantic scholar, this is one of the repository. I asked Magister Servus to include this one in my PPT. It's because I believe that you can also be influenced, okay, by me or from me. Like for example, passion and commitment in teaching research are you really committed? Do you really love research? That's the question. And a teacher's journey, it's a phenomenological analysis in teaching research. I use Kolaichi analysis in this one. Pero mahirap pong banggitin yun, mahirap because it needs thorough training because my major is research and evaluation, doctoral philosophy in education. Since 2019, my career po, I really got the ROI of this profession or the return of investment. So whatever amount or expenditures I've made, it turned back to me. Malaki na po ang ROI ko dito. It's because of I'm open for suggestions, and we should also be open for any changes. Forget professional jealousy. It's part of our culture as Filipino. You know, professional jealousy, meron pong nagsiselos. Sa Bisaya po, may nangigi, may nasuya. If you are familiar with me, those who can understand, okay? Mga bisdak po tayo, I don't care. But for me, I continued my own journey because my characteristic as a professional teacher will be mirrored. And of course, they invited me in different LAC sessions and even ordinary meetings and gender and development. They invited me. You can find myself in FB and befriend me. There are many things that I uh, posted. Okay, of course, I love my family. Okay, I have one son, a grade 9 student in Science High. So if you look at now this slide, the overview of the components and the internal efficiency of higher education. Okay, I am including this one because I am also connected in higher education in Cebu Normal University College of Education. So the human and physical resources are what we consider as the inputs of that, because these are what we call the academic staff and the facilities of the equipment. Are you open, sir, for any AR assistance? AR assistance, we hope so. Okay. AR, what is that po, AR? Later po, you will ask questions later po, okay? Ha? Okay. Because what I know is technical assistance and AR action research. Yes, of course, I love action research. Later po, ma'am, you ask me questions during the open forum. All right, just let me finish po. Okay, human and physical resources. The most important resources in our country are we, or even the rest of the world without us. Pero ang problema po natin ngayon ay mayroon na tayong AI or artificial intelligence. Okay, and we have the work activities of the institution, including the nature and the carrying of teaching, research, and services. In higher education, and if we compare in basic education, mahirap po i-reconcile. That's how I let my college students understand that when you be holding classes in your own assignment, please be with the students, okay? Please be with the students. Why? Because of the institutional background. RISE po. RISE stands for research, I for instruction, C for community extension, and E, that is community extension, RISE po. So mayroong research, okay, and community extension, instruction. Those are the components. Okay? And if you continue, you have the employment systems, okay, institutional culture, including the norms and values pertaining to autonomy and what we call academic freedom, integrity, and collegiality. Okay? Because if we mirror ourselves as teachers, okay, kahit po hindi tayo medyo bright, kahit hindi po tayo medyo naman average, but the most important in life, in philosophy, is how we show our character. Ang atin pong saloobin, okay, attitude po. That's the most important. Okay, we have to understand one another. And if you also look at this figure, the higher education, okay, within the external context with factors that affect the internal efficiency impact the ways in which institutions outputs are valued and assessed. So if they have their evaluation, we have also our own evaluation. We just simply acknowledge what we call the external, okay, including the several factors affecting the institution. So in every institution, there is what we call VMV, vision, mission, okay, and values integration. Okay, and they are interacting with one another, because even if non-sectarian, our aim here or our main goal is to provide quality education, and ICT is one of the dimensions also. Okay, so the arrows, if you'll be making a theoretical and conceptual framework in your research, or if you want to formulate a model, remember the arrows, because the arrows have meanings. Huwag po kayong basta-basta guguhit ng arrow. Sa Cebuano, Ayaw patakag pasagad. Okay, so there should be a meaning for every arrow. Okay, patubil po tayo. Let me continue. Are you still with me? So I'm sharing you another related study. Time is 6:15. Another related study from our colonizer. Yes, thank you, Ma'am Junaline. Okay, from Spain, our colonizer. We were colonized by Spain for how many years? And look at Spain in 2013. They have this study, ICT strategies for the improvement of instructional supervision. The author, si Esteban Cano and Luisa Garcia. Para po mga Pinoy, but remember, yung ating mga pangalan po ay mga Spanish term. Like ako, si Rinaldo, parang Spanish in Spain. Look at their objectives: to evaluate and analyze strategies, proposals, and ICT tools to promote paradigm shift in educational supervision. Yung pong paradigm shift, that is what we call the model. So that it will enhance the F2F or face-to-face, e-learning, and blended learning, mga learning, marami pong learning. Tingnan po natin ang result. A supervision model that complements the techniques and strategies of traditional supervision and incorporates new ways of addressing the educational processes based on Web 2.0. So, what is the most important there is the model. And what do you call that model? If you are listening to me, what is the new model that they have discovered that they will be recommending? I would like to see your answer in our chat box. If you are listening to me, ano ang tawag sa model na kailangan lang i-recommend? May I see your answer in our chat box? Sir Dave, Sir Rosalie, Web 2.0? It's not Web 2.0. What is the name of the model? It must be oriental towards an intervention. What's the name of the model? Web 2.0 or mahina ang signal natin? So the name of the model is what? Virtual supervision. And the winner is Ma'am Hani RC Ramos. Okay, thank you po, Ma'am Ramos. And the rest of those who are participating, but your signal is weak, reacted to virtual supervision with. Thank you, Ma'am Rona V. Right. Palakpakan po natin. Virtual supervision. And question, do we have that here in DepEd? Meron ba tayo niyan? Virtual supervision must be oriented towards an intervention. Yes, there is. During the time of COVID-19, malakas po ang virtual supervision. And now, ano na? So how would we improve? Then substantially transform. When we say substantially transform, we support, you support. And when you support, you should do research. And question, are you willing to do research? Okay? But dahil process po ito, ito ay sistema, teaching, learning, process. And this was, kailan po ito? When was this? 2013. Oh, before COVID. Let's continue. Okay, lumipad na po ang sisiw. So, if you look at my study, the one that I've told you, from the Philippines, walang ibang gwapo, si Dr. Moral. Joke lang po yun. Look at the objective. I want to make a meta-analysis on the influence of learning modalities during the new normal system of education, published in the last 2 years from 2020 to 2021. So this is a literature review. I don't have any respondents. It's only a literature review. And what type of literature review? It's a meta-analysis or meta-analytic. And the results of my studies shows that technical education constitutes a thing that is a necessary condition and concurrently the dominant culture of some participants in the teaching learning activities in the online environment. So all over the world from 2020 to 2021, how did they use distance learning? So that we can understand the trend or what we call the paradigm because of the word propensity. Propensity means the tendency to like, nagustuhan ba ng mga estudyante ang distance learning? That's why I recommend that students need to have self-regulated skills to allocate enough time to finish their work so that they have more equality performance, showing the weighted mean of 0.620 or the large effect size. So the large effect size shows the variables, the dependent and independent variables. Okay. So if you underscore the word self-regulated, that is one of the programs here in Magister Service. Okay. So tell your colleagues that there are programs. Okay. One of the programs which is self-regulated is a product of metacognition. So to continue, lumipad na po ang sisiyo. There are how many studies only I choose. So I am the one who controlled how many studies will I start from 2020 to this one, 2021. And from 2020, from that of Cortes, if you look at the journal, it's a European Journal of Interactive Multimedia and Education. But the variables there that I am measuring is what? Or are mathematical capability. So the teacher is teaching math and virtual learning. So the virtual learning is what we call the dependent variable, while the mathematical capability or the way they choose that one is the distance learning. So these are the variables that I am measuring. And we have also Kazi et al., the Children and Youth Services Review. That's the journal. And theirs is satisfaction, access, and online education, curriculum level barriers and students level barriers, cumulative assessment and reported satisfaction. If you look at the measurements, there are two variables. And the next column shows there how many are they. Those are the number of respondents. N, that's the sample, okay, of the study or the population. But in research, sample po ang tawag sa atin. And the R is the effect size. If you look at the R, okay, the R, the total is, NR, the total is 681,274. And then we convert that one in the weighted mean, it's 0.620, large effect size po. See, large effect size, because if you look at the parameter, 0.5 to 1.0, so napakalakas po ng puwersa or impluensya ng distance learning for the year 2020 to 2021. And I am happy with this because I was able to make a what we call professional development, okay, that was 2021. This was published in 2021. I paid only $10 at my own expense. So what are the issues and possible solutions of ICT, including its opportunities? First, we have teacher quality. Are we quality? Okay, so being a quality teacher we should be vital to our institution. Marami pong sulat dito, okay? But the possible solutions of being a teacher quality is that you must be identified as a researcher. Because there, if you look at research, identify the teacher variable. Tayo po ay isang variable po, meaning to say, we played an important role on the influence, on the impact, on the relationship, on the trend of the study. So if you look at there, the strategies, training programs that are relevant and responsive to the needs of the education, professional development for lifelong learning. This is what's happening now in Magister Service. This is an example of professional development. Pero kinahanglan jud lagi ka mag-study, mag-research jud ka. Kailangan mo mag-research. Teachers trained to have sufficient subject knowledge, recruiting suitable candidates for the profession with the appropriate attitude, skills, and knowledge. Okay, so those are the possible solutions if you wanted to have that type of teacher, because that is one of the issues. In action research, we are using the gap analysis. What should be, what is the expected, and what are the problems, what are the expected output. Look at the ICT opportunity, probably the area which lends itself most to the use of ICT, because as ICT can enable the teachers to transform their practices, we can share right away rather than writing Manila paper and then we mount the Manila paper in the blackboard and then you let our students copy. Traditional po yun. Now, isang screenshot na lang. So, wala na pong copy-copy. So, kung meron man, minimal only. And so the teacher's learning experiences may be linked directly with instruction going on their own classroom. And after that, there's what we call the designing of computer-mediated professional development. So computer-mediated, meaning there must be a thorough training, not only here, but also in your classroom. That is one of the issues tayo po mga teacher. Second issue is the literacy, numeracy, and life skills. Okay, that's the central to the curriculum because it is a critical tool for the mastery of other subjects. Okay, as teachers, based on my observation, if you are fond of reading, you're also good in writing. And when you are well equipped with writing, you're also good in speaking. Those are the arts of communication that needs to be internalized and improved by us because we live by example as teachers, so with our students. And so, well-trained teachers po dapat, okay, training and training. Possible strategies to support literacy. We assign greater priority to literacy, okay, numeracy, and life skills area, or R. So greater priority, focus on the acquisition of the basic skills, structured and systematic teaching, okay, explicit, systematic, and intensive. So if we say explicit, systematic, intensive, we have to adopt what we call teaching approaches, teaching methodologies, teaching strategies. Next to teaching strategies, teaching techniques. Then next is or are teaching styles. So ganun po. Because strategies are part of teaching approach and ICT is just an integration. And you know what? Integration comes naturally. What if you wanted to integrate but the facilities are not there or not enough? So it failed. That's why we have to be creative. And if there are already resources, we have to upgrade ourselves. Meron namang TV, may radio, may CDs, meron pong online. Ang problema if there are no internet or it is not being used. That's why we have to take care ourselves because we are the most important visual aids inside our classroom. Diba? So it's easy to use literacy materials and programs for learners and delivered through various technologies if the resources are available. So the competencies like literacy up to life skills are what we call the things that we will be enhancing for our students. And aspirant leaders, master teachers, head teachers, teacher in charge, educational leadership, management, and governance. This is what we call crucial in ensuring learners' achievement. So our principal must be an overseer. Siya po ang gabay. Siya po ang tagabantay or dakilang bantay. Strong leadership and management of schools as well as good school governance. Teaching and learning in the classroom do not take place in isolation from the functioning of school as organizations or from their social context. Because the greater the population we have in our school, the more we are popular and our schools are very active and interactive. But again, if you look at research suggests, kapag sinasabi pong research suggests, we have to repeat and duplicate what were the existing studies they made from other institutions and from other countries. Why? Because we support. So if we support, there is what we call an improvement of recruitment and promotion criteria for school managers. They are our school heads, our supervisors, okay, and our assistant superintendent. School-based management. Meron po tayong CI, continuous improvement. Meron po tayong SBM, school-based management. We have also strengthening school governance, okay, that will support. And all of the technical committees, members of the SBM must work hand in hand just to fill in the portfolio if you can relate with me because I am also a member of the SBM, okay? The learning environment po ako. Nasa ano po yun, strand, okay? Ano po yung dimension in SBM. And of course, ICT plays also an important role. So you have there the delivery of induction programs for school managers using various technologies. So if you look at our classroom, school SBM or very good, Ma'am Josephine, kayo po ay SBM coordinator. Okay. Buti po yan. Continue leading po our colleagues, our co-teachers, because it's not easy po to be a coordinator if the members are not working. Remember that one. The same in research. Okay, they need to be encouraged. Okay, simple and easy to use software and various time-consuming administrative functions. Okay, instructional leadership. So what you know must be shared. Ha? Huwag po kayong madamot sa inyong mga talents, abilities, and skills. If you know this, what you know, you should share. And what we do not know, we endeavor to acquire. And what we know, we apply justly and honestly. That is the mantra of the SBD. Yes po, we won third place in District SBM. Congratulations po. You are a word emulating teacher, Ma'am Josephine Torion. Okay, so dapat po kayong tularan. Ganun po ang teacher natin. Ha? We need teacher like that, Ma'am Josephine. Okay, the same as your attitude. Okay, another study po. Okay, let's move now to the United States, another colonizer of our country. Their topic I title is Teaching and Learning with Technology, Effectiveness of ICT Integration in Schools. That was in 2015. And I think in the 21st century, this is still recommending or recommendable, okay, aligned po in the 21st century. And their objective is to analyze how the teacher's perception, integrating, supporting teaching learning process in the classroom. Okay, perception lang po yung kanilang sinusukat. And if you look at the results, ICT integration has great effectiveness for both teachers and students. Wow. Professional development training programs for teachers played a key role in enhancing students' quality learning. Okay, and there are many ways in improving our profession. They recommended that there is a need for consideration of other aspects. Ano po ba itong mga other aspects? From the management point of view in regard to strategic planning and policy making. So the best practices of being effective can be continued if there is what we call strategic planning and policy making. So the best of the best would still be continued. And the question, are we willing to repeat and duplicate the study of Gavker and Rosday? 2015 po yun, and now is 2023. Very fresh pa rin po ang kanilang data. So decision, am I willing to repeat or do the same research in a different literature, in a different methodology, but in the same statement of the problem or SOP or domain of inquiry? The decision lies on your hand. Nasa kamay po ninyo ang desisyon kung kailangan yung improve your profession as a teacher researcher, not only in ICT, but in your own field. Because even if there is what we call simple way of making an action research, technology is always there. Huh? Okay, technology is always there. Don't worry, because there are people who would help you. Okay, let's have a quick survey now. Answer me with SA or strongly agree, so on and so forth. There are many indicators here or statements. If this one is part of your perception, if you strongly agree. Number one, I want to see your answer in our chat box. I feel confident learning new computer skills. SA or A? I'd like to see your answer. SA. Wow, strongly agree. I find number two, I find it easier to teach by using ICT. Is it easy ba? Kapag may SA, wow. So meaning to say easy ra ang ICT. I can still have, number three, I can still have effective teaching without the use of ICT. So agree. For me, I can still teach even without ICT. So I strongly agree, because not all the time I have to bring my laptop, kakapoy anak. Oh, those who can understand si Juan, ano ko, ang hirap naman nun. Classroom management is out of control if ICT is used in teaching. That's number four. Whoa, strongly disagree. See? Is out of control, strongly disagree. 5, students make no effort for their lesson if ICT used in teaching. Really? So it's up to you. Thank you, Ma'am Cherry Licas, Ma'am Agnes, Sir Brian, Ma'am Bridget, Ma'am Honey Grace for SDST. Strongly disagree po sila, meaning to say they are really reflecting on themselves that this is arbitrary po. No wrong or no right answer, because this is descriptive research. We will add only your answers and get the weighted mean, and then provide parameter for this, okay, if it is desirable or not. And number na tayo? Number 6, I have more time to cater students' needs if ICT is used in teaching. But for me, it's not all the time. Dahil ako po ay araling panlipunan. And I seldom use my laptop because we have TV, and I just simply ask the students, okay, I just simply upload the modules and ask them to read, and then I ask questions. There's always a question for us. That is the heart of our instruction, okay, the art of questioning. And number 7, I think that ICT supported teaching makes learning more effective. Wow, nag-agree po si Ma'am Junabeth, si Ma'am Ronavit, Teacher Dave Delgado, thank you, sir. Ma'am Annalyn Pardilla for strongly agree. Sir Brian, Sir Mervin, Ma'am Agnes, Ma'am Florissa, thank you for your answers, Ma'am Rosalie, up to Ma'am Diana Rose, okay, and those who are participating tonight. Time is 6:36. Okay, let me continue. Okay, flash report. Do you remember that there was a flash report? Okay, and according to the report, teaches integrates technical assistance in improving delivery basic education services. So one of the highlights of that report is that teachers an online program featuring episodes that focus on steps and initiatives in overcoming the challenges of providing education in the new normal. So that was the words of Dr. Briones. Okay, and this, okay, initiatives is a contribution of the curriculum and instruction strand to support the efforts of the Department of Education in communicating with our various stakeholders, as it serves as a mechanism for providing technical assistance to the field as we are adapting to the new normal in basic education. And if you remember, during the COVID-19, tuloy ang klase, patay kung patay. But that was only a bluff. Hindi yun ganun. Diba? Tuloy ang klase, patay kung patay. Is that tuloy ang klase, whatever LM will be provided. What do you mean by LM? If you are a teacher in DepEd, mayroon po tayong LMs or what we call learning. Ano po yung M? If you are a teacher in post-COVID-19 learning mate, ang M ay learning mate? I think it's not. Yes, very good, Sir Brian. Learning modality, learning material. Okay, learning material. Okay, so the best answer po is learning modality or plural, learning modalities. Thank you for your answer. I appreciate even if you got wrong or wrong spelling. The most important, even in our classroom, when our students gets wrong, always recognize. Always recognize, meaning they are human being just like you, just like us. Okay, that's a simple SOPs kanang gitawag nato or yung tinatawag nating standard operating procedure that when our students answer, we should respect and then we ask follow-up question. Why? Because the why question, okay, marami po ang question. Are you ready? Okay, so are you done with this? Hello, DepEd colleagues, friends, and DepEd, are you done with this RPMS portfolio? Yes. Thank you, Ma'am Mervin. How else are you done with your COT? Because that is part also of our instructional supervision. Okay. Ma'am Ronaby, thank you. Who else? Sinong tapos na sa RPMS? Ako, malapit na po. I'm not yet done because I have to scout all the MOVs. Marami pong MOVs. Ang master teacher. Okay. COS done. RPMS ongoing. Okay. COS done. Not yet po si Honey Grace. Pareho po tayo, ma'am. Ako, malapit na. Bukas, Lunes. Okay. Tapos na ang aking RPMS. Okay. Parang front page lang yata tayo. Okay. But, I really appreciate myself, okay, because I was able to have this one, and then I have more MOVs to fill in our portfolio. Clear book. I also bought my new clear book. Not yet po. Okay, we should be ready for this. Okay, RPMS, IPC, RF. Okay, So look back in our instructional supervision. This is also one of the programs in our regional level. Okay, if you look at the house, the teacher is the central, okay, or the core of the process. We have directive, non-directive, and collaborative. For teachers 1 to 3, you belong to the directive or collaborative, depending on your experiences, okay, and your what do you call this, your plus factor. But for the master teachers and head teachers, we belong to the non-directive already. But still, whatever classifications we belong, non-directive or directive, we are still serving the government. Okay, so learning outcomes, collaboration, and there's what we call planning. That is part of the instructional supervision. Okay, in 2020 and until now, we are preparing for any visitors coming from the regional office would look at on how our teachers instructional supervision portfolio made of, because there are MOVs there. Marami pong MOV. Isa na rito ay yung IPCRF natin, RP and SK. So the same also. Again, thank you Ma'am Jace, Ma'am Bridget. Ma'am Bridget sayang. Okay, hindi po sayang Ma'am. Okay, apelido po siguro. Let me continue. Okay, if you look at the organizational structure, okay, the regional director are assisted by the RD. Okay, and we have here the SGOD, functional division chiefs, okay, up to the CID chief, SGOD. And if you look at the bottom, we have the ALS teachers, the master teachers, and the teachers. Tayo po ang nasa grassroots. Now remember, they cannot function if we teachers, master teachers, ordinary teachers, ALS teachers, and even volunteer teachers or substitute teachers, if we are not here or not there, the school head, the supervisors cannot function. So, importante po ang grassroots. So, if you look at the arrow, the sequence, from the region to the division, to the district, and to the school, yellow po, tayo po ang yellow, school head, master teachers, nasa atin po lahat ang blame. Diba? So, kung nasa atin ang lahat ng mga pagbabago, nasa atin po lahat, ang pagsisisi, we have to defend ourselves that we are functional, that we are versatile. Okay? So, it's the organizational structure. It's from the organizational and management. Okay? Those who are taking up here, major in educational management, leadership, and supervision, KEM po. Take 6 units in your master's degree and you have the chance to become a school head, okay, or an assistant principal, because that is part of the system now. So again, I include the school head and the master teachers because we are closer to the principal, okay? Every time or most of the time, the principal or the school heads are with us. So he or she will defend us whenever there are district meetings, okay, division meetings, okay. It's the principal who is or who are answerable for all the queries, okay, including the school as a part of the social system. Okay, and if you look at the matrix of instructional supervision approach, from the directive to non-directive, organizing and developing. Then for the collaborative teachers, they belong to applying, okay, teachers 1 to 3, and non-directive teachers 1 to 3. It's master teachers 1 to 4 in case in the Cebu province, consolidating and integrating. And this is discriminating because we look at how our mentees perform. Okay, we have definition also there. We perform instructional activities with minimal supervision because we are supervising teachers 1 to 3, while the teachers 1 to 3, they are consistently guided by the mentor, okay, until its level of applying or what we call collaborative. And if you look at the benefits, okay, their views, their alternatives, and skilled questioning. There is what we call a pre-conference before the observation, and post-conference after the observation, right? So scheduled, unscheduled, or invitational. It depends on your agreement during your faculty meeting. And how many times? That's the frequency of visit, at least twice in a quarter, at least once per quarter, and the level of instructional supervision. Okay, close or continuous, participatory, or minimal. For us master teachers, it's minimal. But for teachers 1 to 3, close and continuous. In private schools, they have also their own styles of evaluation. All right. So let's move to the techniques of instructional supervision. Anong color po ang naiiba? That is closely related to techniques of instructional and supervision. It's research. For me po, it's research because when we observe classroom, when we do demonstration, when we visit teachers 1 to 3, okay, because that's my job to visit my mentees. I have 3 mentees. And when we have workshop or even micro teaching and listening tape or recording up to guided practice, all of this can be incorporated as one of the best practices in our school. And in research, there are many designs. According to data, it could be quantitative or qualitative or mixed. And if you look at in 2009 in Nigeria, from the study of Florence, his aim is to address the instructional supervision in the administration of secondary education as a panacea for quality assurance. Panacea means there is a remedy or treatment. So if there is a treatment, ibig sabihin, there is a problem, educational problem. That's why he suggested that the principals as a catalyst, okay, or frontliners should facilitate the implementation of the various sets of instructional materials that will improve the teaching and learning situation in the input, process, output framework. That's why I highlight it with yellow because I remember my clients, my candidates in thesis and dissertations, okay, that the IPO is some part of the theoretical and conceptual framework, okay? That's how I look at the macro level of research. But in our students, we have to lower our standards because when we teach our students with research, theirs is just practical, whatever they could relate. Okay, we must understand. Okay, dahil marami pong mga lapses, mga shortcomings ang ating mga estudyante, that's why we have to lower our standards and look at them individually, especially if you are a class advisor. Okay, ako, I am also a class advisor. And I'll be doing my different forms, Form 5, Form 9, Form 1, Form 2. There are many forms, okay? So sometimes we feel not comfortable with these many forms. Kaya, somni, gisiyo ni nato. Or, joke lamang po yun. But we simply look at that this is really part of the graces given to us by our great teacher, Jesus Christ. Okay? As human as we are, sometimes we feel the burden of our job, but in the end, it's quite astounding, no? When we let our students be promoted to the next grade level. So much for those grade 12 because I'm handling grade 12 and during our research defense, yung kanilang English po ay buak-buak, liki-liki. Ganun. You can say that parang bitak-bitak po, nagkukulang po. They need to have a mastery of the parts of speech, something like that. Our students really need English teachers who could really produce students who can speak the second language, which is English, speaking the foreign language aside from Filipino. All right, so let me continue. And so if this is the problem in Nigeria in 2009, it's our decision if we want to continue. And so nabukas na po ang ating cortina ng ating kusina, I mean ang ating Zoom. So this is how I influence my school head, Dr. Sheila Ikong, and our supervisor, Sir Jerome Omisa. The title of our study is The Emerging Trends of Blended Learning, Instructional Approaches and Basic Education, Students' Academic Achievement. It's a meta-analytic assessment and theory generation. So it's a combined study. It's one of the rigorous study, but I let them appease that don't worry because they are also experience, postgraduate and doctoral, I will be there to guide you. That's what I told them. And so it's our subject, I mean, our project has been spread to, because there are 7 schools in South District 4. That was year 2022, last year for December in, in our school district. And we also, so if you look at the right side, okay, ito pong naka-block si Dr. Sheila, ang upaw na niya ito pong si Sir Misa, okay, yung aming supervisor. Okay, I guided them, and they are also very best in speaking, okay, even if they have less time, okay. But during the data analysis, they gave me some of their ideas during data analysis interpretation, because that's the time that they can partake. They are very busy. So we have what we call a collaborative research and making this very meaningful. And now it's 2023. It's time for us to do the implementation, the dissemination, of course, the monitoring, and then we will report that, okay, someday during the next school year, 2023 to 2024. It's a very aspiring job. So including this one in Magister Service, it's because of the integration of technology that our student and we as teachers, the content and technology are interacting with one another. Our students have different learning styles. They have also different skills in technology, okay, and access. So the cognitive levels, because that for me, that's the highest form of learning, okay? And aside from affective and psychomotor, every discipline in learning area must be mastered by our students, okay? That is what we call the content, and every content in the MELCs or in the curriculum guide must be mastered. Kaya nga tinatawag itong competencies, because competencies are what we call the skills to be developed. So we have technology types and technology uses. Okay, different levels po. That's why blended learning teaching has different models. We have station rotation, lab rotation, remote learning, flex learning, okay, supplemental, mastery base, up to outside, something like that. Inside out, outside out, something like that. There are many, these are what we call part of the model or part of the investigation, because research is a continuous process. It starts with a problem, it ends with a problem. And when it ends with a problem, this is how we look at ourselves if that problem is the same with what we are experiencing right now. Okay. And I also cooperate with our assistant principal, another Professor X. This is Charles, Professor X. We call him Professor X, Charlie W. Zayas. He's a candidate of, but he will be going abroad now. But I'm happy because of the time we spent together, we were able to have our collaborative research and evaluation of teacher induction program in our school through the eyes of beginning teachers. We also presented this one at an international level. So how is it related to supervision? It's because we are master teachers also, and Sir is our assistant principal. We are managing our teachers, especially those who have just hired. Okay, so how effective are they based on their relationship with, if you look at the published study, it's already published na po, somewhere in Indonesia. We want to know the challenges they've encountered, and as a beginning teacher in TIP or the Teacher Induction Program. And if you look at the results, the IPCRF is one of the variable. Another is self-rating. So they will rate themselves during the training of their TIP. And yung si Kalbo po, katong upaw, he will be the one to rate. That's what we call the TIP coordinators. So therefore, if there are 3 variables, and if you want to measure the 3.1, the 3 of this, if there is a significant difference among the 3 variables, so we use the analysis of variance in quantitative research. And if you look at this is a mixed study. This is a mixed study, descriptive, inferential, and we also use narrative inquiry of the study. And the emerging theme are the following. We have orderly learning environment. We have also development of effective teaching. Then we have teaching, what we call show love, respect, and caring, and the promotion of personal and professional development. What are these themes? These themes are taken from the utterances or the significant statements of our in 4 months or respondents. We use thematic analysis, okay, Colaichi analysis in qualitative. Okay, so I feel that I was a principal at that time, even if I'm just an ordinary master teacher, but how could I help? Okay, so what I've learned, as what I've said to you, what I've learned must be shared. All right, and also to my coordinator in Araling Panlipunan, because I belong to the senior high school. Ma'am Princess Estrada is our coordinator in Araling Panlipunan. Until now, she is still having a what we call uh, data gathering, because it's all about blended learning or modular learning. It's how the Araling Panlipunan teachers experiences use blended learning, okay, and that data inquiry here, or the design, is narrative inquiry. Until now, it's still ongoing. So research po depends on how speedy you are or how lark you are. Kung ikaw po ay medyo tamad, ganun po mangyayari, madidelay po, because this was December 1, 2022 and supposed to be 6 months dapat tapos na. Well, in DepEd is not a problem. We can ask for extension. And I also collaborated with this, parang mga preschools po sila. Ako lang ito yung pinakamatanda. Okay. Si Dr. Moral ang master teacher sa aming faculty room, and I work with the science teachers, Ansel Kim Insong, si Julian Santos, para po mga preschool sila. I considered them as my children, sometimes as my younger brothers, because we wanted to know the effects of ADI model as an instructional system designed for senior high school students in science. Why I am doing this, it's because I'm done with myself. Mayroon na po akong individual researches. So what I've learned should be spread, should be known to them. And our research has just approved our proposal, and hopefully by June 30, if they are ready with sharing our PPT across junior and senior high school, of course, they are very willing. Okay? Dahil paspas po sila. Ano yung paspas? Mabilis po silang magtrabaho. Okay. So lumipad na po ang CSIL. So that's my current project by myself. That's the ADI model. So ADI stands for analyze, okay? What are our audiences? Who are they? How would we improve the instructions? Because it involves online and offline. And we design also a kind of lesson plan which shows the solutions, the objectives, the strategies with instructional goals. So for every component analyzed, designed, there are instructional goals for ADI. And then we create a prototype or materials, then we redefine the materials, or we drop that one. It's a long process po. That's why experimental po ito. We use the post-test only, and then we the pretest and the post-test, rather, the pretest and the post-test, and we use that, compare this one with the ADI. Okay, how strong is ADI as our independent variable? And our dependent is, of course, the achievement of our students. And my rule here is only to supervise the research process. Okay, then during the implementation, there is virtual or physical. That's why I included this one as part of our program here in training in magister service. Engage the participants of only 30 students, one from Sir Julian, one from Sir Insong, and then finally, we come up with an evaluation. We collect the learners' data, we assess, okay, the resources, okay, if the goals were accomplished. That is what we call the ADI. And how effective it is, I think it's effective because based on the scores, the data. So my next plan, hopefully next school year, okay, sa awa ng Diyos, okay, mayog lawas or yung malusog po tayo, tipak na po yung aking susunod na intervention. So TPAC stands for technological, then we have also technological content knowledge, then we have technological pedagogical, then we have content knowledge. They are still interacting with one another, but if you look at the redundancy, nagbalik-balik ang word nga knowledge because that is the basis in the Bloom's taxonomy. And now from the revised version of the Bloom's taxonomy, we have the Anderson and Krathwohl version of the taxonomy. I use also that one. If you want to know, you can Google my name, Rinaldo V. Moral PDF, and you can see the effectiveness of unified approach in practical research one instruction through contextualization. So contextualization is always part of our teaching and learning process because they can understand if we speak Tagalog or whatever mother tongue base. So sa Bisaya, mas nakasabot ang mga estudyante kung atong Bisayaon, no, dili lang siguro kanunay para makasabot gid sila. So we translate that one in Tagalog. Okay, that is how the grammar translation method occurs. So all of the circles outside, the experiences of the students, the resources, the objectives, the attitudes, and the training of the teachers, because what we do as teacher and when we apply that one, so both the academic skills and the practical skills, when we apply that one, there is what we call a holistic learning. Holistic learning. So that's why as an instructional designers in the new normal, we act like this. We are evaluators, we are communicators, tayo po ay mga project manager, thinkers, data analysts, designers. Sometimes tayo po ay mga taga-DSWD because we have also students having personal problems. Tayo po ay para ring police, okay? Tayo po, ganun po tayo. We have everything. Our rule is, as an instructional designer, we are superheroes. Ganun po tayo. Okay? Walang kamatayang adjustment sa mga stakeholders po natin. Okay? And how would you find yourself as a teacher in the new normal? Let me conclude that of all my experiences that I am sharing to you and all of the researches that I have scouted since last night, I am very happy that the implementation of ICT is a challenge. Okay, not only me, but for the supervisors. And it is also a kind of a model that must be changed substantially because we have to look for other backups. If there is a research gap, there must be an what we call supporting statements that we claim something which is new, something that must be developed, okay, so that it can help our school with ICT integration. And for number 3, it needs serious consideration in order to increase the competency of the country's education system. Kaya nga sa PISA or other worldwide measurement of academic achievement, sa PISA po, if you are familiar with that, sa OECD, sa World Bank, kulelat po tayo. That's why the development of our country's education and even the economy, our political system lies on the kind of system that we have. And what system is that? It's the educational system because it affects the direction of our society. And of course, in future studies, more focus should be given to management strategies and policies to address the barriers faced by teachers in using ICT tools in teaching and learning. That's why we can say that whatever training you will have, not only here in Magister Service, okay, leaders and teachers don't often share the same room. Magkaiba po tayo ng classroom, isa tayo sa faculty room, but it doesn't mean that every message that we can get is an immediate opportunity to share our concerns, to become a thinker tank on creating innovative ideas to make the program or framework work, because all of these are coming from the framework that we are using. That's why to create a situation where our principals and we as teachers, we should be reactive rather than proactive, because depending on the situation that we have to go back to the faculty and run through the same steps. Marami po mga steps. And when questions come up, the facilitator is not there to help or to work. It becomes a piecemeal. Piecemeal, hindi po piece na piraso. Peace. Kalinaw. Ano ba yun sa Tagalog? Peace. Kapayapaan. Okay? So in order for anything to be implemented, we, teachers, the leaders also to become must share the same room. And with the dependent of the program or the framework, we are here as partners in explaining what instructional coaching approaches should work. Okay, for every staff. Kaya nga mayroon tayong staff development, faculty development, meron po tayong GOT, gender and development. Okay, so the kind of synergy or the forces that we are having right now in Magister Service, okay, teachers, we are here to be trained. And together, we must show that the process that we are using here, the way I am communicating you in our Zoom, must be applied because it creates something that looks forward and we have long way to go. So we are coaches, no? Tayo po ay mga leaders. Okay? And even if we are not sharing the same room, learning takes place to one another. Okay? So as a teacher, we're always a student forever. Again, okay, continue learning in life. There's always continued learning because life never stops teaching. That's an old adage. All right. So these are the suggested readings if you want to